Breaking news from the NBA, Yahoo Sports reporting that Chris Paul plans to return from COVID protocol for Game 3 tomorrow in LA against the Clippers. Paul missed the first two games of the series against LA, the first two games that were in Phoenix. And Phoenix won both of those games, including last night's thrilling Valley-oop to win it on the DeAndre Ayton dunk. They got great play from Cameron Payne, who was filling in for Chris Paul. But going back to that Nuggets series, he was tearing it up before entering COVID protocol. 25.5 points per game, 10 assists per game. And he was making about 2/3 of his field goal attempts. Had a season-high 37 points in that Game 4 when they were able to make quick work of the Nuggets. Let's bring in our coach, Avery Johnson, a one-time Coach of the Year, also an NBA champion. Avery, if you're there with the Phoenix Suns and you saw what Cameron Payne was able to do in Games 1 and 2, and you have Chris Paul coming back but hasn't been able to do that much in a week, how do you reinsert him into this lineup?
As soon as he gets off the bus, you reinsert into the lineup. There's no gray area. Chris Paul is the starter. He's the man. Now, probably, you'll play him maybe 5-minute stretches, when he starts the game. Sometime maybe if he played 9 or 10 minutes in the first quarter, that's probably not going to happen. But at the same time, you're telling the rest of the team, do not relax because Chris Paul is back. We got to play as if he's still injured or in health protocols. So I would say if Chris Paul, he's back in the lineup. This guy averaged 25 and 10. I think he had like a 8-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in that Denver series. He closed them out in that last game. And hey, man, this guy is just on top of his game. This is his last chance to win an NBA championship because it's his only chance. And I know if I'm looking at this Western Conference Finals based on what I've seen in the East, this could very well be the next NBA champion, the winner of this series. So insert Chris Paul back into the lineup immediately, but tell Cam Payne and Cam Johnson and those guys, Mikal Bridges, do not relax because Chris Paul is back in the lineup.
We saw Paul's numbers in that series against the Nuggets. But Cameron Payne in the first two games of this series, of course, he scored 29 last night. But in the two games, he's averaging 20 points and 9 assists per game. What kind of luxury is that for Monty Williams going into Game 3 and 4 and 5 when you know you've got Chris Paul as well and Cameron Payne can fill the bill if Paul needs to take a seat?
It is a luxury because the Suns are, basically 9 or 10 players deep. And all 9 or 10 players that's in the rotation can all contribute. And it also helps to know that Cam Payne can keep the team running even when Chris Paul is on the bench. They can also play together. It just gives Monty Williams a lot more options against a team with the Clippers that have consistently gotten down 0-2 in series, but they're playing against a different team. This Phoenix Suns team, this is not the Utah Jazz, this is not the Dallas Mavericks. This is a very well-balanced team with a center in DeAndre Ayton, who's very well owning it and living up to that #1 pick overall in the NBA draft.
Clippers rather had an opportunity last night to even this series, make it a best-of-5. They knew Chris Paul was coming back, and the reports are that he's going to return for Game 3, barring a setback. Can the Clippers do it again? I mean, they're up against so much right now with Kawhi Leonard seemingly out for the rest of the playoffs. I mean, it just doesn't seem like there's much hope in LA that he's going to come back. Can they do it again and make this a series like they have the last two down 0-2?
Well, I'm not going to say if they come back and win this series, it's going to be like the miracle on ice, but it definitely would be a major feat, especially for Coach Ty Lue, who I think we're having, two of the best coaches in the NBA, and Ty Lue and Monty Williams coaching this series. So everything is possible. I think it would be a little bit more possible if Kawhi Leonard was playing at his best and he was healthy against this Phoenix Suns team. But without Kawhi Leonard, this is an uphill battle. I picked the Suns to win this game in six games. We're right on track. It may end up being a 5-game series, especially our sweep if Chris Paul is at his best. But, the Clippers have a lot of pride. They've come back before. I expect them to at least split one of these games in LA, and then potentially the Suns can go back and wrap this thing up on Monday night in Phoenix. But it's an uphill climb. They're going to have to change their defenses around a little bit. I'm not really thrilled with their man-to-man defense. They have too many matchup issues with the Suns. So maybe, throw in a little bit of a zone as a strategy, which they utilized against Utah and stagnated Utah and Donovan Mitchell in a couple of those games and possessions in that series. So let's see what Ty Lue has up his sleeve, especially with them going back home to play in the Staples Center.
A lot of us, though, are already looking ahead to what the finals might look like, with the Suns already up 2-0, CP3 coming back. Look, Milwaukee and Atlanta haven't even started their series, but Milwaukee is a heavy favorite against the Atlanta Hawks. What would a Suns-Bucks matchup look like?
I would still pick the Suns to win the series because, again, I think this is this team in the Western Conference. Think about the Western Conference and all of the guys they have on the All-NBA team and the depth of players that's in the Western Conference. I mean, Steph Curry, man, he couldn't even make it into the top 8 with his team, and this guy was on an MVP role. You got guys in the Eastern Conference, one of the best players in the Eastern Conference, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he airballed 2 free throws. Look at the level of play, and now with the Nets, with their injury to Kyrie Irving, James Harden playing on one leg, and it was all about Kevin Durant. I just think the West is too deep, it's too strong. And, the Lakers got injured with Anthony Davis. So I think I would still favor the Phoenix Suns. I think they're deeper, they're more versatile, and their superstar players in Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they don't really have any glaring weaknesses like Giannis Antetokounmpo has with the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, Phoenix Suns should be getting Chris Paul back for Game 3 tomorrow in LA, according to reports. And Phoenix will try to do what the first 2 teams that the Clippers faced could not, and that would be close out the Clippers when up 2-0. Avery Johnson, thank you so much for the time. I want to look at the longest title droughts in our 4 major sports. Remember, it used to be the Cubs and the Red Sox were on top of this list for so long. Well, now it's the Rangers and then the Phoenix Suns. 52 years without a championship. But according to Avery Johnson, they are his team to beat now with a 2-0 lead on the Clippers. Chris Paul coming back and an inferior opponent they would likely face out of the Eastern Conference if they make it to the finals.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.